Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Appreciate you being with us. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Let's go to Clemson, South Carolina in 15 minutes. We'll talk to Cole Bryson from the Fan upstate. Been some murmurs about some inconsistent quarterback play from Chris Vizina up there in camp. Could Clemson put a freshman out there on the field in a week in 2 days? We'll see. And then another just full check-in on what's going on up there in Clemson as we are getting closer to college football opening things up officially this weekend and then in earnest next weekend. Luke Johnson's going to check in from Dallas, Texas in 30 minutes. We'll talk to Luke about Saints and Cowboys tomorrow in the finale of the preseason. Excited to chat with Connor O'Gara. He's from the next round. He's going to be with us at the top of hour number 2. I want to talk SEC quarterbacks. There have been some decisions made in the Southeastern Conference, some with LSU opponents. Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama have named starting quarterbacks in, I use air quotes here, controversies or decisions that had to be made at the quarterback spot. So we'll get to Connor O'Gara and talk about those coming up at 2 o'clock. So plenty to do. If you've checked out LouisianaSports.net today, you know we've advanced things on the TRO front. We'll start there at our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
We at LouisianaSports.net published a story about an hour ago titled Attorney Says Sankey SEC in Violation of Louisiana Law. That attorney is representing the 33 players who won a temporary restraining order in the 19th District of Louisiana last week. His name is Tony Clayton. I believe you'll hear from him on After Further Review later today. That remains to be heard and seen. But we spoke to him this morning, and he was very, very adamant about the position of those players. I thought the action by the SEC yesterday, Tuesday into Wednesday was strong. Unanimous votes are strong. I understand how those come to be. They are generally coerced and then put forward in a public relations matter, but that was 15-0 or 16-0 depending on the vote that you're looking at. And then the punishments that they suggested they would bring down if you played one of these players that's in violation of these new rules that had signed with or practiced with or been affiliated with a professional organization and come back, were start. 50% season suspension, 50% reduction in budget. Oh, by the way, you lose your voting rights, and we can kind of do whatever we want. Were what the punishments were laid out. It's clear that the SEC is taking this very, very seriously. And so I suggested yesterday, I think the SEC can enforce its rules. It's enforced fines forever and ever, amen. It's enforced suspensions forever and ever, amen. It's told teams they were ineligible to compete in postseason. It's essentially forced coaches out of jobs. Like, the SEC has held some power, but this is a different animal when you start talking about preventing players from making money. And that's the way these players and their representation, and keep in mind, this is not LSU. It is players and their representation. We just know that some of these players have committed to LSU, but LSU is not involved in this lawsuit. But Tony Clayton said it's our position the SEC and the commissioner are in direct violation of Louisiana law. And the most powerful quote he gave us that said, how can you create a bylaw that wasn't in existence before that retroactively overrules the judge? I think Greg Sankey ought to be forced to come down here in Louisiana court and explain to us how he can overrule a Louisiana judge. That doesn't sound like a guy who's about to back down, does it? No. In fact, he went on the record with us at LouisianaSports.net and said, we will test it, meaning they will test this new rule that the Southeastern Conference has put in place. And I will tell you, this is the grounds they will do so on, because the temporary restraining order that they were granted last week states very clearly the defendant, NCAA, and its officers, agents, employees, representatives, successors, assigns, and all persons acting in concert or participation with it are hereby temporarily restrained
and enjoined from prohibiting plaintiffs from competing in NCAA Division I athletics during the 2026-2027 season. Basically, the SEC put these rules in place and said, hey, you might have won that against the NCAA, but you can't play in the Southeastern Conference. Big Ten said the same thing. Big 12 saying the same thing. Notre Dame saying the same thing. They're saying, you may win against the NCAA, not us. And the attorney's pointing to this Article 5 in the TRO, which is very available, and says, wait a second. It says the NCAA and its officers, agents, employees, representatives, successors, assigns, and all persons acting in concert or participation with it are hereby temporarily restrained. So they're saying this does mean you can't do that. You can't see a ruling by a judge and then circumvent it after the fact and then say we've got the authority. That's what the attorney's saying. So ultimately, what we've got here is two sides that are not going to back down. It is vitally important to Greg Sankey and the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten and most of the talking heads in the media that players who have participated professionally cannot come back to school. And keep in mind, this is not an LSU thing. It is not an LSU thing. Bryson Warren played 3 years in the G League and is committed to Texas A&M and got a restraining order. I don't see that blowing up my Twitter feed. Brylan Green just committed to Arkansas. Now, you may say, wait, this is kind of semantics here because he got invited to a mini camp. He wasn't in training camp, but the Chiefs and Vikings invited him to mini camps. He's participated in mini camps with an NFL helmet on, and I don't see anybody throwing fits about that. It's just LSU becomes the punching bag here, and it's fine because this is not an LSU story right now. So for those of you that are sick and tired of this, and I promise you, I am right there with you. I despise this stuff. I hate it. I don't like stuff that I don't fully understand, and the court of law is certainly that. I'm reading as much as I can. I'm learning as much as I can. I'm trying to educate you the best I can, stay engaged with you the best I can, inform you and entertain you the best I can. This is relevant because there are some players that have committed to LSU that are involved here. But it's not an LSU thing. There are lots and lots of players, dozens that could reach upwards of 100 that want to come back and do this that may have had affiliation here or there with the NFL, with the NBA, with the G League, okay? So LSU's the punching bag nationally. LSU's the poster child because this happened in Louisiana. People don't like Lane Kiffin. People don't like Will Wade. So LSU is the focus of this nationally. It's not an LSU story. Here's how it could be. This becomes the question. Because I don't care about the temporary restraining order and the back and forth and the SEC statements and the attorney doing it. I don't care. I'm so sick of it. I want to talk about Clemson, and we will in 8 minutes. But here is the deal, the nuts and bolts of this thing. If these players lose on Monday in an attempt to get that preliminary injunction, because the temporary restraining order is over after 10 days. So if they lose on Monday, I think this thing is cooked. They don't have ground to stand on. The court said you can't do it, and the SEC sure as heck said you can't do it, so you can't do it. If they win, the SEC is going to come back and take this to federal court. It will go beyond Monday if these players win. And the question becomes, if these players win, they're granted an injunction, and their attorneys tell them, we have legal ground to stand on. The judge just told you twice, once with the TRO and once with the preliminary injunction, you are winning this case. You can play. And the SEC says, no, you can't. We've got rules in place. We will punish you. Then it's an LSU story and an Arkansas story and a Texas A&M story, but those teams don't have to worry about this until Arkansas with one player, a safety, A&M until basketball season, and the rest of this, all these guys that are involved. But if you want to bring this home to LSU, is it worth it to Dr. Wade Roos, to Verge Osbury, to Lane Kiffin, to take the judge's ruling on Monday, bring these players in, and play them with the risk that a federal judge can overturn this, and then you become susceptible to the penalties the SEC put in writing earlier this week? Because if you are told, it's one thing for Lane Kiffin to get suspended for 6 games, okay? It's another thing for the SEC to say, hey, you just lost in federal court. these players are ineligible. You played them. Here's the punishment. I need half your budget for men's basketball when you played R.J. Lewis and for football. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. I don't care about Lane Kiffin being suspended for 6 games. Whatever. Will Wade's been suspended for the NCAA tournament. What do I care? Tens of millions of dollars when you're dealing with these budgetary restrictions and you're in financially the situation that you're in that everyone has said is unsustainable based on the amount of money that you've dumped in to the rosters that you put together, and you want to tell me that you're now losing half your budget? That is a risk. And I am not smart enough with enough legal acumen to tell you how likely it is that you could win at the district level and at the state level and lose at the federal level. That's beyond my purview. I don't know. But you have to decide if that's worth it. And I will sit here and tell you right now that with what the SEC put on paper and my legal knowledge, which is minimal, I would not take that risk for a defensive tackle, some depth on the edges, and an 18-point per game score on the basketball. I would not do it. But this is the deal. The people in power believe they are in the right. These attorneys that are going forward with these players believe they're in the right. Trust me. LouisianaSports.net, we spoke with their attorney. And I'm telling you that Tony Clayton believes his clients are in the right. And you know that Greg Sankey believes he's doing what's right for collegiate athletics, no matter which side you fall on. And I found, unfortunately and disappointingly, that if you pull for LSU, you're all on LSU side. And if you don't, and you're on the outside, you're firing away from everywhere, reading columns about how the SEC is going to kick LSU out. That's an awesome column. Definitely not clickbait. Super sweet. But to me, if you're asking me if the risk is worth it based on Monday's ruling, not right now. What these players are doing right now is unequivocally worth it to them. It is worth it to Xavier Harris. It is worth it to Daquan Wright. It is worth it to Mark Mitchell. It is worth it in College Station to Bryson Warren. It is worth it to these players because there's 6 figures on the line. What they're doing is worth it right now. Is it worth it if they win for you, LSU, or any intercollegiate athletic program to take them in as this thing ping-pongs through appellate courts and see if you might lose somewhere along the line and then be susceptible to these penalties? And that becomes the risk. That's the story. It's not Lane Kiffin's trying to burn college football to the ground. It's not that if Daquan Wright plays tight end for LSU this year, the entire image of collegiate athletics is destroyed. It's none of those things. The sensationalism and the favoritism played here and there is ridiculous to me as I continue to read. You can probably sense the frustration in my voice. The story here is, if these players win on Monday, do you want to take the risk as this ping-pongs through appellate court and take some time? And my answer, not a freaking chance. Not a chance in my eye. But I'm confident Lane Kiffin feels otherwise. Because that is as competitive a person as you will meet. And if you turn this into, you're telling me I can't do this and the court says I can, I'm doing it, then he's probably going to do it that way. Because that's the way he's wired. You saw the excerpt from Oxford, and you see how this is going now. And I know for a fact he is paying close attention to this. I don't believe to the extent that he's missing meetings and not running practices and doesn't know what's going on with Clemson's defense and all those things. But he's monitoring this from the outside. And I'm getting a sense of how he's wired, and I just don't anticipate this to stop anytime soon. Honestly, my hope, these players lose on Monday. My expectation, they win on Monday. And then we see how brazen some of these schools are going to be. And it's not just an LSU story. It's not. And those people in the national media that want to paint it as such are being lazy, short-sighted, and narrow-minded. But these players are not going to stop until they're told to stop. And the question is, are the schools willing to bring them in? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's go to Clemson and talk about their football team. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Back to school time from our friends over at Ochsner. Families get ready for back to school season. It's here. Ochsner Health is reminding parents that success in the classroom starts with overall wellness. Nutrition plays a huge role. Ochsner recommends packing balanced lunches, proteins, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and getting kids involved in meal planning so that those healthy choices feel more appealing to them. Many Ochsner Health Centers can offer both primary care and pediatric services in one location, and that makes it easier for families to coordinate care for everybody in the household. If you're looking for same-day appointments, that's available at many locations, and that can help families address unexpected health concerns quickly as children return to school, as well as other activities like sports and other extracurriculars. Extended afternoon hours after school, as well as weekend appointment options at select locations provide added flexibility for busy families that are balancing school, work, extracurricular schedules, all that goes into raising kids back to school time. If you want more tips on helping your family start the summer and the year right, you can go to ochsner.org/BR. That's ochsner.org/BR.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern Classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday's show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You know, despite all the headlines surrounding Louisiana courtrooms and preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders, there's going to be a football game next weekend, which I'm excited for. I know that a lot of people are. It just feels like it's going to take us forever and a day to get there. It'll be LSU and Clemson from inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. Cole Bryson from the Fan Upstate covers the Clemson Tigers. Good enough to give us some time on the Jim's Firearms Hotline on this Thursday. Cole, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. If I was any better, my name would be Hunt Palmer.
Oh, God. I just had a heated first segment. I'm so frustrated and annoyed by this entire thing. I just want to talk about sports, and I'm having to do legalese constantly. But let's talk some sports. There's some, you take training camp reports anonymously for whatever they're worth, and that's why I wanted to have you on. Some murmurs yesterday on the internet that there could be some quarterback issues at Clemson. Just kind of give me your synopsis of where that position is as Cade Klubnik moves on and you enter a new era.
No, there's definitely a question mark, I believe, Hunt, because Christopher Vezina, as of today, the 27th day of August, he has not been officially named the guy for the entirety of the LSU game, and I think that's important. Now, Christopher Vezina has been working with the first group, and he's projected to start, and I think he will. But Dabo Swinney said during camp that the competition could potentially continue all the way up until game week, which, in the next week or so. Freshman Tate Reynolds has been a part of that competition, and the expectation, Hunt, I believe, still is Vezina, but I don't know that freshman Tate Reynolds is that far behind him. So when you look at quarterbacks under Dabo Swinney in recent years, we talked to him about this at ACC kickoff up in Charlotte a few weeks ago. Dabo Swinney has been the loyal kind of coach that plays the loyal kind of quarterback, right? The guy that's been loyal to the program. And with that expectation, most believe that Vezina will be the guy. But when there's not a ton of separation from what I've been told from fall camp, don't be surprised if you and we all see freshman Tate Reynolds make his debut at some point during this game.
Is there a difference in their playing style? Could they complement each other, or is it a deal where they're just trying to find the guy that plays the best?
I think they're trying to find the guy that plays the best from what I've been told. It's a good question. I just think ultimately when you look at the ceiling, Hunt, of Tate Reynolds, I think the ceiling may be higher. And I think the Clemson coaching staff, and I think Chad Morris back at Clemson in his first year as OC, I think they may realize that. Would they say that in public? Maybe not. But I believe the ceiling to be higher of freshman Tate Reynolds. However, going back to what I said, Dabo's always been a loyal guy. And when you talk about knowing the system, Christopher Vezina does know the system. However, one caveat there, Chad Morris is new.
Yeah.
Chad Morris had to help Christopher Vezina learn his new system, right? So it's not like Vezina's been in the system for 2 to 3 years and has this huge advantage on the other quarterback who's a freshman. I think they both got a pretty fresh start. I just think essentially, to answer your question, I think that the ceiling of Tate Reynolds might be a little higher.
This sounds to me like an offense that wants to come in here and take some pressure off whichever quarterback it be and run the football. Does that sound right to you? I know that Chad Morris is old but new. How do you feel like they'll approach this thing?
Well, man, that's the key. And you know what? You talked about running the football. Gideon Davidson and that plethora of running backs that Clemson has, he's expected to be the lead running back. It starts with Gideon Davidson. They also added Chris Johnson Jr. from SMU, but no, 100%. They've got to be able to run the ball better. And if you go back to last year, guys, they were not able to run the football. They didn't run the football for, I don't think it was 50 yards against LSU at home last year, right? And they were just horrible. So I think while their average of total yards per game was near 400 a game last season, you go look at what they were able to do. It was just over $120 when it comes to rushing yards per game, like 3.5 yards per carry. And it was a team that just couldn't get that identity when it comes to running the football. So, no, 100% to answer your question, it is all about the run game. Regardless of who the quarterback is, Chad Morris has to, and I think he will, put an emphasis on running the football because under Garrett Riley in the past few years, the emphasis on running the football was not there. Even last year in that LSU game, it was working. It was working for a little while, and they completely abandoned the run. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think Clemson and Chad Morris have got to be able to establish the run, not only against LSU, but all season long.
By that token, what is the outlook for the offensive line? If it's generally speaking, Clemson doesn't bring in a lot of transfers, so is it generally the same group, or has there been an overhaul there?
Well, you know what? You talk about transfers. No, not compared to what LSU did, upgrading the offensive line, right, in a massive way. So if you compare the two units, no, they didn't upgrade, they didn't spend. You lose Blake Miller, who was a staple on that offensive line last year, who's now playing in the NFL, and you go on the road in Baton Rouge. Of course that matters. Of course that's just a huge part of it. I would not say that they upgraded in a way that makes Clemson fans, from the ones we've heard of here in the ones we've heard from here in the upstate, I would not say, Hunt, they upgraded in a way that makes Clemson fans feel good about the offensive line. There's some youth, maybe a couple of sophomores starting on the road in Baton Rouge, and I think there's some huge question marks about that. And that offensive line and that running game goes in tandem, right, with Colin Sadler at right tackle and Braden Jacobs. Last I heard, right guard was still unsettled. I know they'll have Harris Sewell at center, but they've got some guys who really are going to have to step up, because when you talk about losing Ryan Lithicum at center and Walker Parks at guard and Blake Miller at tackle, a couple of those to the NFL, you lost over 11,000 career offensive snaps and 161 starts from last year from that offensive line. So to your point, it's definitely a huge question mark.
Goodness, Cole Bryson is our guest from the Fan Upstate, talking Clemson football here. We're going to stay on the offense, and I don't mean to ask a leading question here, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I talked to y'all last year, and I know the hype around this game last year, and Clemson was coming off a playoff bid and had a lot of guys who were projected first-round picks, and I don't sense it feels the same up there right now. Like, what are the vibes entering this season and specifically entering this game right now? Is there a perceived lack of confidence in the fan base? I realize Dabo thinks he's got it all figured out, but give me a vibe check.
No, I think, man, from the fan base, I don't think vibes are high at all, just to be quite frank. To your point, last year's team was just so they were expected to be so good by so many different people. I think everybody out there, most pundits had them in the playoff, and some had them winning the national championship. And no, to answer your question, the vibes, man, this is a weird time because I've been around Clemson my entire life, and I can say under Dabo Swinney, since Clemson reached its climax, this is the most weird. Let's just use the word weird. It's felt. And weird is really the only way I know how to describe it, because like Clemson fans, you said the word confidence, they don't have a lot of confidence. They just don't. Now, they've got dudes on offense like Bryant Wesco Jr. and TJ Moore who are really good receivers. But guess what? Clemson fans were spoiled for a long time with Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. And we all know how good those teams were under those three quarterbacks. And then you look at what's happened since. They hadn't had the dudes at quarterback. And I don't know that Clemson fans feel that Vizina's the dude at quarterback. That's why a lot of fans are pushing for Tate Reynolds, the freshman, because they feel like the hype are surrounding him is a little bit more, like I said, going back to the ceiling. But no, to answer your question, man, it is weird. It's really, really weird, because most seasons under Dabo Swinney in the past decade, there's been something special about this year's team to look forward to. And when you look at this 2026 team, Hunt, I just don't know what Clemson fans are really looking forward to. And, again, they've got really good receivers. But somebody's got to block. Somebody's got to throw the ball to the receivers. And I think this is 2026. After last year's disappointing 2025, I just think this is a massive year to get this fan base captured back.
Tom Allen, defensive coordinator, they have enough to win games on defense while the offense grows up and figures it out?
That's a good question. I think the defense is in better shape, to answer your question, coming into the season under Tom Allen. You've got guys like Sammy Brown, who is a returning starter, one of the centerpieces of Clemson's defense. I think Sammy will have a big game against LSU, but also a big year. You also have Will Helt, who started 13 games a season ago, and Ashton Hampton at corner, who started all 13 games. And reports have said that he's had an excellent camp. So defensively, I think that's where, going back to the last question a little bit, I think that's where some of the confidence does lie. Tom Allen, now remember, Tom Allen's defense at Penn State was really good. Last year at Clemson, not so great. We all saw SMU go through Clemson's defense like a knife through butter, right? We saw them get exposed by Duke and other quarterbacks in ACC play many, many times last year, hence their, 7-6 record. So I think when you look at what this team did last year, 20.5 points per game allowed, they were good at times against the run, but this year, under Tom Allen, they've got to set the tone. And I think if Clemson wants to be successful in 2026, Hunt, it's going to have to be led by this defense.
He is Cole Bryson from the Fan Upstate, covering the Clemson Tigers. Great conversation. Thanks so much for the time. We'll get to the opener next week. It's one day at a time.
That's right. Thanks, Hunt. Have a good day.
Sure will. That's cool, Bryson. Appreciate his time. I want to follow up that interview here. But first, let me tell you about First American Bank and Trust. They're online at FABT.com. That's FABT.com. Been at this for 116 years, y'all. 116 years serving Southeast Louisiana. So if you're looking for a bank and want to bank locally, there's nowhere else to turn but First American Bank and Trust. They've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, so there's always one near you. If you're up the I-12 corridor in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa Parish, they got locations there down the bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche. They got you covered. Over in Metairie, yes, sir. And they got you right here outside of Baton Rouge, Dutchtown, Jones Creek as well. Bank locally. Bank with those that are in your community. If there's a decision made on a commercial loan or a personal loan at First American Bank and Trust, it's made in Southeast Louisiana. If you pick up the phone and call First American Bank and Trust, you get somebody right here in our community. It's First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online at FABT.com. All right, y'all. I have heard a lot. I have gone on South Carolina radio stations. I have read, just had that conversation with Cole, had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with another member of the Clemson media, and I just don't sense any confidence at all in this program or this team. Offensively, defensively, it's just, I mean, they're coming into a buzzsaw in here. I know that a lot of us are talking about other stuff right now, but by the time next Saturday rolls around, it's going to be all eyes on those two football teams, and I'm struggling to find Clemson's edge here. I'm struggling. I really am. So we'll see. We'll talk more about the game next week, but this is not like Cole came on and he's a little dicey on this. They're all like that. And it's something interesting. It's certainly a different vibe than we felt last year. Now, none of us knew anything last year because we thought Clemson and LSU were both awesome, and they both stunk. So we'll see. Preseason expectations and vibes don't generally matter, but it's certainly something that I'm paying attention to. So let's take a time out. Come back with Luke Johnson next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Incredible deals on trucks all month long. And if you hadn't noticed, it's the 27th. So if you want to take advantage of these new deals on a new truck, you got to go see them in the next couple of days. 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s, 0% APR financing for 5 years, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. Now, until, as I mentioned, August 31st. And 2026 GMC Sierra 1500s, 2.9 APR for 72 months, plus an additional $1,500 allowance. That's now until, again, August 31st. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got one that can fit any budget. Just go to the website, FabryChevrolet.com, and put those sliding bars right in your price range. They'll find it for you. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville and online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
If your office is experiencing performance performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files? Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Let's talk some black and gold. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Saints and Cowboys in the preseason finale Friday night from Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. Luke Johnson will be there. He's with us on Thursdays, CourseWithNoah.com and The Advocate. Join us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. How big a concern are the mounting injuries for this team right now?
Well, I mean, there's a couple different ways you can look at it. I think if they're going to have injuries, that the ones that have happened are probably the best case scenario. We're talking about like really two starters and two, let's call them key contributors, right? Jordan Tyson, Brian Brzee, and then Cam Jordan and
Kamara
and Alvin Kamara. So I think of all the injuries they've had, a lot of it has hit their depth, right? So like if you're gonna get a rash of injuries in training camp, like we've seen stuff like this before, like that's kind of where you want it. But it's still concerning. I mean, we're gonna be going into the regular season here, and they're gonna be making roster cuts this weekend, and I think they're gonna have to kind of do some funky math with the roster, just because they're going to have guys that they need to keep on the 53 who are not going to be ready for week one, who they're not going to put on IR, so they're going to have to kind of make some spots and shift some things around just to make it work. So I think if I'm going to put like a panic meter on it, I put it at like a 3. It's relatively low level, but it's not a thing.
All we saw from the trip out west was the Rams annihilate the Saints backups. You were there for the whole part. Like, did they get anything accomplished out west? Was it a good week despite the score of the preseason game?
Yeah, like I mean, I saw them. We saw them go do joint practices against the Cowboys and the Rams, right? And I watched the offense during the Cowboys practice, and I thought they looked really good against a unit that a lot of people are thinking is going to be much improved in 2026. And even through all the nonsense with the brawls that broke out, I thought that they in their head on and playing the next play, which I think is a good sign to me. So that part was good. I think the Rams are just a really good team, man, like a really smart team, a well-coached team. And even though it was backups versus backups, like, when I was out watching the Saints defense against the Rams offense, I mean, the Rams just kind of had their way with them, So I don't know. It's one practice, one preseason game, but like that just kind of led me to believe that, like, I think the Saints are going to be a good defense this year. I'll run up against a team like the Rams or any one of these like high-powered offenses. I think they could be in trouble just because, like, they're a really smart unit. They're a buttoned-up unit on that side of the ball. They know where they're supposed to go. But outside of Chase Young, I don't know if they have any like real dudes on that side of the ball. So to me, like, it's a long-winded way of answering your question, but I think that the preseason outcome, not entirely concerning. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take out of it when their top, 30 players aren't playing in that game.
Right.
But, I do think that the joint practices, I think their defense is going to be good, but it's not going to be elite. Like, they're going to have their offense put up a lot more points this year if they're going to, really be the team that we are expecting them to be, where they're competing for a division title.
Let's talk about Friday night. Is there a roster spot on the line? Is there a player that needs to prove something? Is there anything of substance to pay attention to against Dallas?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the stuff that I've been just kind of watching play out over the course of the preseason. I think the running back thing is super interesting right now because everybody, I think, has made a case for themselves, and nobody has just run away with it. And considering Alvin's injury, we don't really know exactly how much time he's going to miss. I think he's going to miss regular season time. I think you could be talking about 2 spots among 4 guys, right? Does not help Devin Neal's case that he's not playing, but I think Audric Estime, Kendre Miller, C.J. Donaldson, I'll be watching those guys closely. I think all of them have shown some nice things in the preseason. And outside of that, it's really just who is going to make a case where, do they play special teams, right? Like somebody like Michael Heldman, right? Had that really nice preseason opener, didn't really do much in the second week. Can he give you something on preseason on special teams because you want those guys who are going to help you out in those phases who can then jump in as needed if there's an injury to Carl Granderson or somebody that's in front of him on the depth chart. I think that's really the thing I'm most watching out for. And then obviously the kickers. It feels to me like they are fully expecting Daniel Carlson to just kind of take it after signing him this week. But it also says something that they kept all 3 around. I mean, this is a team that is just, as we've just mentioned, they've had 22 players missing from practice at various points throughout this week, and they're still carrying 3 kickers on the roster. Yeah. So I think it's not necessarily cut and dry to me, but they probably just want Daniel Carlson to just take it. So we only saw him kick field goals once yesterday. I'm assuming he'll get some sort of an opportunity against Dallas. He'll probably be the first one out there because they want to see him in the game, with the game operation. But that's the really big, let's call it a starter level position where it's just completely undecided at this point.
And then the backup quarterback, what's the reps distribution looking like this weekend, and what is there that you've observed at that spot behind Shuck?
Yeah, so they've been really, ever since putting Zach Wilson in as a starter for the Rams game, I mean, they've just been kind of trading backup reps, right? So because of the injuries, because they're ramping up to the season, they want to get the first team more looks. They're not doing 2s and 3s anymore, so it's kind of hard to tell who is the 2 and who is the 3. I would imagine it'll be Spencer getting the first go. I don't think Tyler Shuck's going to play. Kellen Moore said, some starters might play. I don't think Tyler's in that number. So I would expect Spencer to get a half, and then Zach Wilson to get a half. I don't think they need to see Hunter Deckers. I think they know he's not going to make the roster. So that would be kind of my expectation for it. But for all I know, it could also be Zach Wilson starting tomorrow, and they kind of flip-flop the order of things, but I would expect each to get a half.
Enjoy Dallas. Safe travels home. We'll talk next week after roster's cut down. Thanks, Luke.
Sounds good, buddy. See you.
He's Luke Johnson, Saints beat reporter for The Advocate, NOLA.com. Always appreciate his time on Thursdays. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We still got a lot to get to. In 15 minutes, Connor O'Gara going to be with us from Connor moved in the offseason. He's now with the next round, and he's going to talk SEC quarterback plays. With LSU plays Tennessee this year, LSU plays Arkansas this year, LSU plays Alabama this year. All 3 of those teams had a quarterback competition. We'll call it controversy competition, and have named their starters. I'd like to hear about them because I haven't spent a lot of time locked in on other SEC programs with as much as gone on down here in Baton Rouge. Kind of left that in Tampa at Media Days, but I'd like to talk to Connor about that. So we'll do that coming up in 15 minutes. A lot to get to on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team, they know what they're doing when it comes to group and employee benefits. And if you are a CFO or a business owner that deals with the benefits, you understand how cost prohibitive it can be to make sure your employees are taken care of with healthcare, with vision, with dental. If you want another option, if you've had a couple of bad renewals or you dread the one that's coming up and you just want to talk to somebody about what may be available to you, the Highland Insurance Group and Jonathan Carbo are the first call you need to make. I'm not promising you a silver bullet here. I'm not promising you an 18% reduction in premium. I'm promising you a quality conversation and the fact that they are an independent broker that does have contract with multiple carriers that can explore options for you and your business to make sure that your employees are taken care of and in the bottom line looks the best that it can. That's the Highland Insurance Group. They're based here in Baton Rouge. They'll help you out statewide. It's Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group, online at HighlandIG.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Angus Beef. This one also brought to you by Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. That's SwingEasyGCBR.com. Thursday kind of starts the weekend, right? Want to get off of work and kind of ease into the weekend with a little bit of golf. Don't have a tee time? Swing Easy Golf Club right there, Perkins at Seagan. Stop on by. They got a refrigerator full of cold drinks for you. Get some cold beer, seltzer. Grab your private bay and hit some golf shots. You can do it on the driving range, low key. You can tee it up and try to shoot your best score at Pebble Beach. You can do either one. And if you're looking to play on Friday night, you can do that at Swing Easy Golf Club. You want to tee off early Saturday morning before the day gets started, you can do it at Swing Easy Golf Club Sunday afternoon. Swing Easy Golf Club right there, Seguin at Perkins. If you've never played simulator golf, just get on by and see it. It's such a cool place. It's comfortable. The technology's great. It's low-key. You can get a couple of drinks, hang out with friends, or enjoy the bay by yourself. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com. And, of course, as I mentioned, Seguin at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com. All right, I told you in the first segment, for those that were listening, and if you weren't, you can go back and listen to it. I gave what I didn't anticipate to be as impassioned as it was. It's just the way that we've been dealing with this legal stuff with these fifth-year players. I told you it's not an LSU story yet. It's not. There are multiple suits. There are multiple rulings. There are multiple restraining orders. There are multiple sports involved. I gave you some of the names of the Kentucky and Arkansas and A&M players involved in this, and it reaches a long way. It's not an LSU story right now. The media will portray it that way, and they will suggest that Lane Kiffin's the ringleader, and they will throw stones at LSU because that's an easy thing to do. But it's not an LSU story yet. Not until LSU is involved. And right now, they are in an ancillary way, but not directly. They're not involved in the lawsuit. But for this segment, I am going to talk to the LSU side of things. This is what you signed up for when Lane Kiffin became your head coach. To be a lightning rod, to be unafraid, to be in the public, and I know that he's set off social media, but yesterday he jumped on the Pat McAfee show and gave his case. And he's never going to rest from trying to win. And there will be folks that say that he pushes the limits too far. There will be some that say that he's breaking rules. Anyone can have whatever opinion they want. But what's constant, what remains true, is that he's going to push the envelope as far as he sees fit. He is remarkably competitive, and because of his track record, he's going to generate a ton of buzz. And most of it nationally is going to be negative because he has rubbed people the wrong way on the West Coast. He has rubbed people the wrong way on the East Coast. He has rubbed people the wrong way on the Gulf Coast. And that's going to be the national perception. And I don't think most LSU fans care. I don't think they care. And I'm confident that most LSU fans welcomed Will Wade back with open arms. And what Will Wade was run out of town for was way worse than what's going on in the shadows right now. Like, way worse. Right now, there's just an option being explored to see if LSU can supplement its football team. Nobody's doing anything that is flagrantly breaking rules. Now, you can push back and go, wait a second, they just put this rule in. Well, that's kind of the point of the whole deal, is that they suggested this rule was put in retroactively after this decision was made. And that's what they think, the attorneys at least think, is unconstitutional and against state law. But right now, it's just a group of players that are trying to get their eligibility back. And Lane Kiffin is aware of that and will do what he thinks is in the best interest of his football team should that ruling come down. He didn't hire a lawyer. He didn't sue the NCAA. He didn't sue the SEC. Now, you can say that Lane Kiffin should just say, we're not taking these guys. That's what I'm telling you. He's not doing that. When you got Lane Kiffin to be your head coach, you signed up for the guy that's going to do whatever it takes up to the line to get wins on the field. And there will be a huge portion of LSU fans that support that. If he was doing the same thing in Oxford, Mississippi, there would be a huge portion of Ole Miss fans that would support that. Now, those exact same people will point at Lane Kiffin and call him the scum of the earth. If he was doing it in blue and red, they think, oh, that's just our lane. But people are blinded by their allegiances. And unfortunately, like I said at the top of the show, I'm seeing national media members being essentially blinded by their hate for Lane Kiffin's track record in this instance. But if I'm talking to you LSU fans and you're listening to me, this will not be the last controversy Lane Kiffin gets involved with. But ultimately, his motive in these controversies is going to be to get his players eligible, to get his team to be the best it can be, to win football games, to compete for and win championships at LSU. There will be a huge majority of you that will listen to me that go, hell yeah, that's my guy. Go Tigers. And there will be a few of you that go, I don't really love that. But the reality is that's what it's going to be. So if you're an LSU fan that's struggling with this a little bit, you're going to have to either swallow that and throw your purple and gold shirt on, or at least realize it's not going to change anytime soon. I've had a couple of conversations with people close to Lane. Not him. Don't know him. Never met him. Don't know if I ever will. But I've had some conversations with people close to Lane, and I know how he feels about a lot of things based on conversations he has. And it's about winning. And he thinks Jack Pyburn and Xavier Harris and Daquan Wright can help him win. So if a judge says they're eligible, I think he's going to put them on the team. And the people are going to go nuts. He's going to be a lightning rod. But again, going back to it, that's what you signed up for. That's what you're going to get. What I also think you're going to get with that lightning rod is a lot of wins, because that's what his track record also says he's going to do. Connor O'Gara, after Sports Center. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTro'sOnline.com, GoTro'sOnline.com. Get on by and get you that zero-turn mower from the folks at GoTro's Outdoor Power. I don't have a huge lawn. I don't have a huge property, so I don't need a monster zero-turn mower. But I did see my neighbor's yard being cut yesterday, and I looked over, and there's a Hustler. I hope the guy that was cutting that grass wasn't the neighbor, was riding one from GoTro's Outdoor Power, because they're the largest Hustler dealer in the state of Louisiana. They're the National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. And they also are so proud to offer you an extended warranty. They're the warrantor. So you go immediately to the local source for that extended warranty. You can add 2 years or 200 hours to the manufacturer's warranty when you buy that zero-turn mower from my friends at GoTro's Outdoor Power. Check them out. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. You can also find them online at GoTro'sOnline.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of The Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks signing one of their best defensive players to a massive extension. Agreed with All-Pro defensive tackle Leonard Williams on a 3-year, $90 million extension, $56 million guaranteed. He's now one of the highest-paid defensive tackles in NFL history. Pat McAfee show host, Pat McAfee.
So him being a 32-year-old getting $30 million a year in an extension, I think tells you what the Seattle Seahawks want to do. I think it tells you exactly how they feel about him. But I think it's a massive compliment to not only the way he plays, but the way he is as a Seattle Seahawk and what they want their team to be going forward culture-wise.
Browns releasing veteran receiver Cedric Tillman, with Cleveland drafting receivers KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston in the first and second rounds respectively this year. Tillman was pushed down the team's depth chart. The Colts activated receiver Alec Pierce off the PUP list, clearing the way for him to practice. He underwent ankle surgery in March. Now will start ramping up with the hopes of returning for Week 1. The Packers needing depth at tight end behind starter Tucker Kraft, signing veteran Jonnu Smith. He spent last season in Pittsburgh.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Friday, as he gets ready to kick off his second season as UNC's head coach, will Bill Belichick be able to finally silence all his critics? It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Hour number 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, working towards the weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Let's talk some Southeastern Conference football, specifically some quarterbacks. To do that, we bring on our friend Connor O'Gary. He's from the next round, joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Connor, appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, it's kind of weird to be going into this week before the start of the season and knowing that we have all these quarterback battles actually decided. I was fully ready to be debating this going into week 1, and maybe, hey, we're not going to know this going into this game, but here we are. Everything's decided.
Until it's not, and somebody plays really poorly and turns it over 3 times, and a coach makes a shift, and then we'll talk about it all again. I think that's probably how it's going to work in some cases. Let's start in Tuscaloosa. Kalen DeBoer had Mac follow him from Seattle, and then he's got a 5-star sitting there on the bench, and he goes with Keelan Russell. What can you tell us?
I'm all in on Keelan Russell. I've thought for a bit now that this staff views him as the righty Michael Penix. And I think that when he was recruited, he had this very, meteoric rise as a recruit, somebody that just continued to get better, this former 3-star guy that was committed to SMU, and he turns out to be a 5-star guy who commits to Bama and then is on the cover of Men's Health. And, there's a lot of course, there's a lot of attention associated with him because of that 5-star label, but everything that you hear about him is that he just does the wow things. And it was once he started to avoid those mistakes in camp that's when he truly separated from Austin Mack, who, by the way, Austin Mack is in year 4 in this offense with Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, only 3 of which with Ryan Grubb, I guess. But still, they had a lot of loyalty to Austin Mack after he followed them from Washington to Alabama. So, I don't think it was a given that Keelan Russell was just going to emerge as the clear guy, but Yeah, I mean, I think he's the real deal. I think Bama is going to be 10-2 this year as a result of having someone that can do the extraordinary things that he can bring. And I think that at this time next year, we'll be talking about him as one of the top returning quarterbacks in all of college football.
It was borderline stunning to watch LSU and Alabama week in, week out last week either not try to run the ball or not be able to run the ball or both. Do you think Alabama can figure that out with Keelan Russell back there, how they can be a little bit more balanced and run the ball?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, like I don't have a whole lot of faith in Ryan Grubb as a run game schemer. Like, you see how quickly Seattle went from this team that couldn't run the football, and all of a sudden the Seahawks win a Super Bowl with Clint Kubiak as their OC, even though like they suffered a huge devastating injury like late in the season to Zach Charbonnet. I just thought all that boded really poorly for Ryan Grubb in terms of running the football. And so I don't have a lot of faith that this staff is all going to figure that out. Like, I really think that Keelan Russell was brought in there because of what he can do to extend plays and what he does behind the line of scrimmage to be able to kind of throw his receivers open. Like, that's what he's going to bring to the table. He's really not as much like a proven runner as maybe what his skill set would suggest. It's kind of Bryce Young in that sort of way, albeit with a bit bigger of a frame where he can maybe take some more of those hits. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of faith that this ground game is ever really going to be a true strength. Can they flirt with mediocrity and maybe find someone that can emerge and kind of be their feature back in the way that 2023 Washington team did with Dylan Johnson? Yeah, that's possible, but I don't really expect them to all of a sudden set the world on fire and remind us of Bama teams of old.
Another team that went with the young hot shot is Tennessee over the veteran who returns. So tell me about the decision that Josh Heupel made. LSU travels to Knoxville, second to last weekend of the season.
Yeah, Hunt, it's fascinating because I think that we look at Faison Brandon and kind of assume, well, you know what, you got to give the job to the more talented quarterback in that room. Josh Heupel has really favored the upperclassmen quarterbacks. 4 of his 5 quarterbacks at Tennessee have been the upperclassmen. And the one time when it wasn't, it's Nico Iamaleava in 2024. And as a redshirt freshman, you kind of saw him take things off of Nico's plate. And you realize, like, maybe you can't do all the things in the offense that you really want him to do. And so I'm kind of curious what it's going to look like for Faison Brandon, who is going to be the first week 1 SEC true freshman starting quarterback since 2020. We saw that with Vandy and Ken Seals. This will be a little bit different than that,
That's
probably.
A little different.
Right? But, like, yeah, Josh Heupel has had all this success elevating the floor of his quarterbacks, and I do think that it's a fascinating situation because this defense is going to go through a transition, I think, with Jim Knowles taking over. You don't necessarily have the luxury that Nico had a couple of years ago with Dylan Sampson to hand the ball off to. I think Deshaun Bishop's a good player, but not on that level. So there are a lot of unknowns, and I think for a 5-star quarterback who comes in with a lot of hype, it's going to be about what this offensive line can do. Can those veteran receivers help him out? Because I think those mistakes will come. It's just going to be about how drastic they are.
Up there on the hill in Fayetteville, Arkansas, it was KJ versus AJ, and KJ wins out. Did that surprise you, or that's kind of the way you saw it going?
That's the way I saw it going. AJ Hill is actually a former 4-star recruit that Memphis was able to get. And, I think many might have looked at that and gone, oh, well, he's got the familiarity with the coaching staff, with the scheme, but KJ Jackson's just further along in his game. And the amount of times that I'm going to say KJ Jefferson instead of KJ Jackson is going to be high. Like, they're setting us up for failure with that. But, KJ Jackson at least got some reps late last season in relief of Taylon Green. He got to play on the road against that Texas defense and did some things that made you think, all right, you might have something here. He's got the frame at 6'4" to be able to play the position. He's got a really nice deep ball that I think is going to be an asset for this team. They need balance. I don't know if game flow is really going to be on their side this year with what I expect to be a pretty lackluster defense. Like, they're going to be trailing. They need a guy that can actually throw the football. AJ Hill is still really, really young and probably didn't give them as good of a chance to be able to do that as KJ Jackson did. So not necessarily a stunner, a guy that I think is really talented that Arkansas fans are intrigued by, but still a massive unknown for a guy that's got, 56 career pass attempts.
And look, from the outside, and I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on the Arkansas Razorback roster, but it just feels like an uphill battle for Ryan Silverfield in year one and really just overall in Fayetteville. What's your confidence level they can at least get their feet on the ground this year before it gets away from them?
Yeah, it's a really uphill battle because, like, Ryan Silverfield, I think has done things really well as a head coach. I mean, his Memphis team last year beat Sam Pittman and was the reason that Sam Pittman got fired as early as he did last year. So I do think that, you have someone that you feel is going to be better in those close games that for whatever reason, Arkansas, not even just with Sam Pittman, they just can never win close games. They're just always going to do that wrong thing late in the game. But I do wonder what it's going to look like with a rebuild because he didn't have to rebuild Memphis. That program was in pretty good shape after Mike Norvell left for Florida State. And so I do kind of wonder if that's going to be an uphill climb. But, man, they had, 57 transfers or something like that? I mean, it's insane the turnover that roster has undergone. KJ Jackson, ironically enough, is one of the guys who stayed. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to keep their head above water in SEC play. If they win multiple SEC games this year, I'll be stunned.
Connor O'Gara from the next round is our guest talking SEC quarterbacks. LSU plays those three teams. Alabama comes to Tiger Stadium. LSU will visit Tennessee and Arkansas in the last 2 weeks of the season. Tigers don't play Vanderbilt this year, but I'm not, and that's why I'm not paying attention to Vanderbilt. They're not on LSU's schedule. I was stunned that the five-star quarterback that they signed and beat up Georgia for not going to start the season. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it definitely did. And I think Jared Curtis, everybody kind of knows the recruiting story. Maybe they even know that he was he's got more appearances in feature films than he does starts at the college level in the Breadwinner. But yeah, I think everybody looked at him and assumed, well, he's not going to go to Vandy unless he's going to be the starter right away, right? Like that makes a lot of sense. But Blaise Berlowitz has now 3 years already in that Tim Beck offense. He was the backup to Diego Pavia when they were both at New Mexico State. Diego Pavia and Tim Beck were the package deal that came over. And so far, that's paid dividends. So I think they look at this situation with Tim Beck, who's a 62-year-old offensive coordinator, is one of the most underrated people in this sport. Yeah. And they go, well, wait a minute. That guy actually knows how to run the offense. Let's see what he can do. If he's bad, then we'll turn to the five-star, and we'll still have everybody that's really excited to see him, as opposed to going the other way around and kind of wondering, hey, what does it look like with this guy that's got all this experience, at least understanding the offense in practice, albeit as a backup to Diego Pavia. So I think they just kind of want to see what they have and just want to feel like maybe we don't have to have this massive regression. They're due for regression, obviously, in a post-Diego Pavia world, but they kind of want to see this thing through before they feel like they have to turn to Jared Curtis.
Tim Beck had Blake Baker's defense on roller skates last year. There's no question. That was kind of when you felt like it was the beginning of the end for the Brian Kelly era, and it certainly ended when A&M ran him out of the stadium. But Tim Beck's offense was cooking that day, especially in the second half. Connor, appreciate your time. One more question as we get you out of here. Just a thumbnail, or as long as you want to go, I guess, on the drama around this fifth-year deal that LSU seems to be involved in, though not directly legally yet.
Yeah, what a disaster to be talking about as we're, yes. I guess 2 days before actual football being played. I can't believe that this is happening, but I also can. And I think if you're an LSU fan, you're looking at this, the one takeaway that you can have as an LSU fan, regardless of kind of how you feel about the ethics of all of this, is you hoped that Lane Kiffin would go to the ends of the earth to be able to make his team better. Like, this is a positive sign to be like, wait a minute, we had the best returning tight end in all of college football on Trey'Dez Green, and Lane Kiffin is trying to circumvent the rules in any way possible to get it a way to have Daquan Wright play for this team. That is a net positive if I'm an LSU fan. As for everybody else that's just looking at the sport as a whole going, wait a minute, what are we doing? We're allowing NFL players to come back and play? This is utterly ridiculous, and we've lost the plot. I definitely agree with that. I think that it gets to a certain place where we all kind of understand what it means to play in the NFL versus playing in college, and that's a line that, as you've mentioned, I know you wrote about this as well, we have never had to cross it, and this is maybe the line that we view as, okay, you can't actually cross that line. All these other things about paying for play and all that other stuff, we're okay with that now, but this is the one line that you can't really cross. And so now LSU kind of in the crosshairs, maybe not in the crosshairs. It's a mess, and I think many people are going to have discussions about this moving forward well into the season.
Yeah, I just don't think those conversations are going to dominate campus next Saturday when Clemson comes to town. My hope is that we can lock in on the green grass in Tiger Stadium and not worry about it for those 4 hours. But I guess that remains to be seen. We'll figure it out. Connor, we'll be watching, we'll be reading, we'll be listening to the next round. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Ben. Really appreciate it.
Connor O'Gara from the next round, talking quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference. Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We still got 45 minutes to go. Come hang out with us on Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. BoudreauxElectrical.com. Give yourself the peace of mind to know the power's not going to go out on you. If you don't have a Generac home standby generator and you're listening to me, I bet in the course of the last 3 months, whether it's been an afternoon thunderstorm like we had earlier this week, whether it's been just a heat-related outage in your neighborhood, or you're not even sure what happened, but your power went out, I'm sure that's happened to the majority of you. You can prevent that. You can get that Generac home standby generator installed by the local team at Boudreaux's Electrical Services, and that's important. You can get it from the big box stores. They'll sell you a Generac home standby generator. But do you ever hear from them again? At Boudreaux's Electrical, you get a local person to come out, survey your land, and give you that quote. You get a local team of full-time Boudreaux's Electrical employees to install that generator. They will monitor it locally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that if there is a mechanical issue, they're aware of it and they can come out and handle it. By the way, when they come out and handle it, it's a local team that comes out and does the fix. If you've already bought a Generac home standby generator and you didn't buy it from Boudreaux's Electrical, but you want that local service, you can get it with the Boudreaux's Boost. You just got to call Neil and Melissa Boudreaux at Boudreaux's Electrical at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or you can reach out at 225-300-9389. You can check them out the easy way online at BoudreauxElectrical.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at ReliefWindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Always love telling you about my friend Sean Segrera and Segrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean's number at the end of this read. So if you've been hearing me for months and months, well over a year now, talk about Segrera Farms, and you're thinking today might be the day you make that call, get your phone ready because I'll give you the number here coming up shortly. But at the Palmer House, it's the only thing we eat. We eat Segrera Farms beef because it's better. It's just better because you're getting prime Angus beef every single time. This is a labor of love for Sean. It starts with a genetic process, and then it comes together with that cow that's raised on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days, and you get prime, tender, well-marbled, flavorful beef. There's two places you can get Segrera Farms beef. You can get it at Supper Club. You can get it at the farm. And if you call Sean and say, hey, I heard Hunt talk about you can go out to the farm. You can see their process. And you can pick out your half cow, your full cow, your quarter. If you don't like it, you don't pay for it. But I know that you've been going wherever you go to buy your beef, and those prices keep climbing. How's the quality? What do you know about that beef? How many DNA are in that pack of ground beef that you get? Do you know they've been used steroids or inappropriate antibiotics? You know at Segrera Farms what you're getting. Prime, flavorful Angus beef. Steaks, ground beef, briskets, roasts. We've had them all at the Palmer House, and they are phenomenal. We won't do it another way. So call Sean, 225-719-1723. 225-719-1723. Send him a text. Say, hey, I heard your read on Hunt's show. I'd like to talk about beef. He would love to have that conversation with you. I promise you. You won't be disappointed. Segrera Farms, they bring your Thursday shows each and every week. I want to react to that segment with Connor about the SEC quarterbacks. LSU plays 3 of those teams. And those games are all late. They're all November games. Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas. All late games. But it was fascinating to hear Connor talk about Ryan Grubb's offense and their inability to run the ball. Because when you look at the last 2 seasons at Alabama, and you look at where they've ranked in the Southeastern Conference running the football, it's been awful. Last year, they ran the ball for 104 yards per game. You know what LSU ran for? 104 yards per game. They were separated by 0.1 per game. Now, Alabama obviously played 15 games. LSU played 13. So if you look at the total yardage marks, you're talking about a boost of 210 for Alabama, but they played 2 more games. Alabama ran for 104.1 yards, and LSU ran for 104.0. Did you see LSU's running game last year? Atrocious. And Alabama's was every single bit as awful. And I asked Connor, like, can they fix that? He's like, I don't think so. Well, I went back and looked at 2024 rushing. And Alabama was better, but they had Jalen Milroe. So that's not really running the ball. That's a horse at quarterback. So if you think that Keelan Russell is going to be able to run like Jalen Milroe, maybe it works. But Jalen Milroe is a freak. Keelan Russell's a great athlete. But Jalen Milroe looks like a tailback. So that's fascinating to me because I don't believe you can get this thing done in the SEC if you cannot hand the ball off and run it. And the statistics would suggest Ryan Grubb's offense can't really do that. And he gave a great example of Seattle, who was just an okay offense, and then he left, and they morphed into a Super Bowl team. Just right after that, running the ball better. That's interesting. Because the only offense that I can really think of that really ran the ball well without an offensive line that established it was LSU in 2023. And if you find me a quarterback that plays like that, then I'll find you an offense that can do it. But if you can, there aren't Jaden Daniels that just show up every year. Jaden Daniels, and I don't give a rip about the jersey thing from 3 weeks ago. Let's just talk about what he did on the field. That guy is going to be as underappreciated a Heisman winner as there will ever be because his defense was so bad and his team accomplished so little, and they didn't win any huge games that year. They lost the shootout against Ole Miss because Dallas Turner flagrantly targeted him and knocked him out of the game, they lost in Tuscaloosa. They didn't win any important games that year. And I get that. Most Heisman winners do. But he was incredible and carried an offensive line completely geared towards pass blocking and carried an offense. I looked back at LSU's 2023 rushing stats, and like Logan Diggs was the top running back. He ran for 653 yards. Their second running back, Josh Williams, ran for 284 on the year. Jaden almost ran for that against Florida. So, yeah, if you can do it, you can score a bunch of points and be a good enough offense to win a championship without a great running game if your quarterback has a Superman cape on. But does Keelan Russell have that? Or is he going to have to do it all himself through the air? That just doesn't sound like a winning formula to me. I know Ryan Coleman Williams can be awesome. I know Keelan Russell has the wow factor. But if you can't hand it off and run the football, it's going to be tough sledding. Now, you look at Tennessee, it kind of goes the same way for Faison Brandon. I don't know how many times I'm going to call him Brandon Faison, and I'm a guy whose name is Hunt, so I get that the last name first thing can get inverted pretty quickly. But Faison Brandon, not Brandon Faison, he is going to take these reins as a true freshman signal caller. As he mentioned, Counter did in the last segment, the first one since 2020 when Ken Seals did it for Vanderbilt in front of no humans in COVID stadiums. I kind of wish LSU got Tennessee earlier now, right? Kind of wish LSU got Tennessee when Faison Brandon had 3 starts instead of what he will have theoretically is 10 starts, because that's the second to last game of the season. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. I'm going to be watching him because this Josh Heupel offense has morphed into different things over the years. That Hendon Hooker team was chucking it down the field. I mean, it was all out aerial bombs, deep balls. They came into Tiger Stadium, wore those heinous gray uniforms, played against LSU in those heinous all-white uniforms, and just dusted LSU. Ran them right off the field. But they were high-flying, chucking that football. And then they came back, and their best team that made the playoffs led the SEC in rushing. It always goes fast, but the style that they play with kind of depends on what the player is. Hendon Hooker didn't need the top running game in the SEC. He could just throw it. But Nico Iamaleava taking over, young player, they needed the running game. Well, I think Faison Brandon's going to need the running game. And we'll see if they have that. I guess you could theoretically say LSU also gets a chance to kind of fine-tune this Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss offense while Faison Brandon's growing in Josh Heupel's offense. But I'd rather veteran Sam Leavitt play early in Knoxville against a freshman Faison Brandon than play that game in late November. And then it comes to Arkansas, and I'll just be honest with you. I don't think the Hogs are going to be very good. That's not a hot take. They're rarely very good. But it did surprise me a little bit that the Arkansas veteran got the nod over Ryan Silverfield's recruit to Memphis. Because, yeah, you're talking about a guy that's been at Arkansas longer, but he was under Bobby Petrino and Sam Pittman, not at Memphis with Ryan Silverfield. But by that same token, the SEC generally recruits a higher level athlete than Memphis does. I just don't think it's going to matter. I wrote a column at LouisianaSports.net today kind of going through LSU season as I saw it, which has now been dwarfed by the story we wrote with the words from the attorney representing the players that have filed for that preliminary injunction, temporary restraining order. I think I would get the legal terms by now. But I think Arkansas is going to be bad. And I think by the time LSU gets there on that holiday weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, you're going to be talking about a student section that's probably checked out because their team is so bad. You're going to be talking about a fan base that realizes it's hunting season on a holiday weekend and families in town. And, oh, by the way, John Calipari's top 10 basketball team has started things up, and they're probably paying attention to them. So you're catching Arkansas at a good time at the end of the season when the players are looking to hit the portal. They've probably checked out. As Connor said, I'd be shocked if they win more than one SEC game. You're going to be talking about a team that is probably 1-7 or 0-8 by the time you get to them at the end of the season. How many people are going to be in that stadium? That's probably the more important thing than talking about who the quarterback is. It's Thanksgiving weekend for the students. It's hunting time in the state of Arkansas. We know that well down here in Louisiana. And their basketball team is like sky-high hopes. Calipari's had two good teams here in Arkansas that have made good runs in the NCAA tournament, and this team's supposed to be better than those. So I like where that game rests on the schedule. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. But it's interesting to watch how these battles have been settled, and they're going to impact LSU in November with Alabama, trip to Tennessee, trip to Arkansas on Thanksgiving week. So just a little look at following up on Connor Aguirre's thoughts just from my perspective, but great stuff from Connor. If you missed that interview that we just did with him at the top of the hour, just hopping in the car, head over to the carpool line or whatever the case may be. Check that out on demand wherever you find your audio Hunt Palmer show, because Connor is great dealing with the SEC and had a lot of interesting things to say about all of those different quarterback battles, even Vanderbilt, which LSU doesn't play, so I'm not as concerned with. 30 minutes to go. Come back with us on the Hunt Palmer show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Go take a tour at Marucci. Awesome spot there at Marucci. Official bat of Major League Baseball. The official bat of Major League Baseball. That's no small thing. And you would think the official bat of Major League Baseball, maybe in Kentucky, maybe in the state of New York. No, right here in Baton Rouge. Best players in the world swing Marucci. You can see how those bats are made every single day. 1,200 of them sent out to the best players in the world. See where they shave them down, see where they stain them, see where they ship them off. It's a really cool tour. You can also become a member at the Hitter's House. Take some swings. Matt was there yesterday. If you're a member at the Hitter's House, you can get key card access into their cages, their workout facilities every single day. Weekends, school days, work evenings. You got a youth baseball or softball player that's eating up with it, wants to get better. Marucci's Hitter's House membership may be the best thing. It's a true gem here in Baton Rouge. Take the campus tour. Become a member at the Hitter's House, all courtesy of our friends at Marucci.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Natural gas from Atmos Energy is a gentle warmth that starts your day. The blue flame that turns simple ingredients into traditions. And the comfort of a shower that never gets cold. Natural gas is the energy that brings your home to life by fueling backyard fun, cozy moments, and bringing people together. Natural gas fuels the moments that make a house a home. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. It's so good, it's wrong. Choose from a variety of classic sides like our zesty Cajun seasoned fries, savory red beans and rice, or sweet corn grits. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Every day, Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by One Bath and Closets, online at onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall and his team been at this 30 years, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. So if you need a redesign and remodel, why would you go anywhere else but One Bath and Closets? Don't go with the local guy down the street who takes some cash from you. Does he know what he's doing? He could. I'm not ruling him out, but I know David Duvall at One Bath and Closets knows exactly what they're doing, and they've got the work to prove it. You can check them out at onebathandclosets.com. They want to remind you, if you've got a crack in your tub or a crack in your shower, don't just disregard it. Take a look and call someone, preferably One Bath and Closets, because the last thing you want is for a small crack to allow a lot of water to get places you don't need it to be. And then in your ceilings, in your walls, in your floors, you've got mold, you've got rot, and you've got a significant problem that comes with a significant expense. David sees it all the time, he tells me. So if you see an imperfection in one of those areas where water could become a real problem, call David Duvall One Bath and Closets, have him come look at it. Maybe you can catch it really early and you just need a simple fix and a small redesign, new shower, you're good as go. David Duvall is happy to do that for you. Financing options are available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. It's One Bath and Closets. Check out their great work, see their great reviews, and get that free consultation with David today at onebathandclosets.com. All right, we're an hour and a half into the show. We've hit some hard-hitting topics. We hit the legal battle for these fifth-year guys. We've talked about the Saints and their preseason game coming up on Friday night. We've talked about SEC quarterbacks. We've hit some important topics. I would not suggest this is the most important thing we're going to talk about, but I do find it reasonably interesting because it's the team we cover and it's the national lens of that team. We're talking Saints, we're talking NFL. Ben Solak for ESPN.com put together a piece and ranked the NFL teams from the most watchable to the least watchable. And as I tell you every time I read one of these, I think in my head, what's the local angle here? Where are the Saints ranking? And I looked at that and I went, well, they were not watchable last year. That's why they didn't play any primetime games. Young quarterback that maybe most of the league's not too familiar with. Bad division. Probably not great. Probably not the most watchable team in the league. And I started to scroll through, and they've got the Bears as the most watchable. You've got a upbeat, energetic coach and a quarterback that does some wild stuff. I got you on that. Rams number 2, just a clinical offense, pass rushing defense. I got you. Team that could win the Super Bowl. The Lions, they've been high flying. They're pretty watchable. I get it. And you continue to roll down. And the Saints are down the list. There's no question. The Saints come in at number 24 on this list. And as Solak writes, hey, the Saints defense led the league in success rate the last half of the season last year. How cool is that? So this is totally meaningless for watchability, but they face bad opponents, and Brandon Staley's preferred style of light box defense leads to some quiet games, so maybe not the most watchable, but for this year's watchability, they may have something cooking. They return a lot of last season's defensive production. Tyler Shuck's offense may take a leap as they've got some protection for him with David Edwards, and they went and got Travis Etienne, who's fun to watch, and Jordan Tyson, although he's hurt, can be really fun to watch. Maybe they're an ascendant team. Then he writes, of course, you could just wait until the Saints are clearly good to start watching them. You can also get on the ground floor and make the hipster claim that you knew them before they were popular, which I thought was an interesting way to frame it. And that's what we're hoping, right? We're hoping that the Saints do have the pieces to an exciting team, but no one knows it yet, right? No one immediately thinks of Chris Olave when they think of the best 5 or 8 receivers in the NFL. That's just not a name that pops right into your conscience. Tyler Shuck, if you ask Joe NFL fan at the Lions or Vikings or Dolphins tailgate in 2 weeks, name the top 15 NFL quarterbacks. Not one of them is going to mention Tyler Shuck. unless he had him on his fantasy team at the end of last year or something. So there's not a lot of name recognition there. You don't have the splashy All-Pro or Pro Bowler. But maybe the league's just not paying attention, and the Saints are going to burst onto the scene. One thing that Luke told me during this show back in the first hour that we're going to have to evaluate here is just how good this defense is. We all know that the offense has got to be on the come. They brought in a lot of investment, fortified the offensive line, brought in a new rusher, drafted a number 1 wide receiver, signed another one, quarterback's growing up a year. You know the story on offense, they've got to ascend. The defense has to maintain what they were at the end of last year against bad teams. I get it. For this team to be fun and to win games and to get attention. And what you saw last week was Trevor Lawrence finding some success in the red zone, Dak Prescott getting going in that joint practice, and then apparently by everybody that was there, Matt Stafford just had a field day. And that is mildly concerning. And I use the term mildly on purpose. It's a joint practice. It's not the Super Bowl. But they need to be good on defense. Did you replace Demario Davis properly? Are you going to get similar production from Cam Jordan's end spot with whatever personnel you want to use where he gave you 10.5 sacks? He probably won't, but can you get that from your 2 new additions there and him? We'll see. Are your corners better than they were the end of last year? Or are they still the same? If your defense is not top 15 in the league, top 12 in the league, you're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Saints are going to be an offensive juggernaut. And that probably makes them less watchable. Because what's at the top of this list of watchability? Bears, exciting offense, creative coach, uber talented quarterback. Rams, 2 stud wide receivers, brilliant coach, Hall of Fame quarterback. Lions, flashy running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. Goff throws for a bajillion yards. Like, nobody right now thinks the Saints are going to be that. So you become watchable by being good. And you're good if your defense maintains. And last week, it sounds like they had some issues. So this is kind of a segment about how you ascend in the NFL, and then voicing kind of a quiet concern over here that the piece to this puzzle that we kind of thought was the constant. You got Brandon Staley back. You've got continuity. You've got Chase Young back. You've got Granderson back. You've got Cam Jordan back. Godshaw's there. You got Pete Werner back. Kool-Aid's back. Riley's back. Sanker's back. Reed, healthy. Back. Okay, that's a lot on defense. They better be top 12 defense in the league. Well, it didn't sound like they were top 12 defense in the league last week in a controlled practice setting. All we have to go off right now is reports from the media, and I am not sitting here running panic alarms based on a list on ESPN that had them as the 24th most watchable team in the NFL. That's not the point. The point is just to kind of survey this and go, okay, how do you become a buzzworthy team? How do you become a team that, hey, if you want to make this into something that really does matter, not what people are watching on their Sunday ticket on Sunday, we got to go watch the Saints. No, that's not necessarily it. But hey, how do we become a really enticing place for free agents to come? Because people are interested in what the Saints are doing, and they're an ascending product in the NFL that those hipsters were really paying attention to in the offseason of 2026. Well, you need the defense to show up, and then you need the offense to ascend. It's possible. It seems like the offense took some steps forward last week, and the defense, you're like, all right, come on, guys, tighten it up. Got to get healthy. Got to get out of Dallas without any more injuries. Got to rest up for a week, and you got to go to Detroit, one of the most watchable teams in the league, and figure it out. Incidentally, what's Baltimore on this list with old Lamar Jackson, who was perhaps the most exciting player in the NFL at one point? I didn't check where Baltimore was on this list. Number 11 for Baltimore. So you're playing 2 top 11 entertaining teams in the NFL in your first 2 games. Jordan, I know this doesn't mean a hill of beans, but like, do you know where I'm coming from?
Now I get exactly where you're coming from, but ultimately it's simple fact is the Saints are not in the eye. Like, did we have any national televised
no prime
games?
times last year, zero.
So when you're coming off a season with that, and you come off of you put together a win streak down the stretch, but you played nobody's pretty much. So you wasn't knocking out a big dog here and there where people are like, okay, the Saints beat the Packers or something like that. So only way where people are going to shine a light on New Orleans again, obviously we got the Monday night game against the Falcons. You need to show up that game. But again, you just said your first 2 games of the year, Lions, Ravens. Huge fan bases, 2 teams that have expectations. And you know what? If you really want to get on the national radar and people to pay attention to the Saints, let Tyler Shuck and them boys go out there to one of them in Detroit or the Baltimore and light them up. I promise you there will be talking heads talking about the Saints. Wait, before we go, though, who were the teams under the Saints? So who was 25?
Least watchable?
Yeah, I'm about to say, who's worse than us? I just need to see this real quick.
Take a guess.
I mean, got to be the Falcons, right?
Falcons
got to be below us.
Below 28.
Okay, I would say the Falcons. I would say the Raiders. I wouldn't want to watch the Raiders.
I wouldn't want to watch the Raiders. They're below 27.
Raiders, Jets. I ain't trying to watch
25, you're right.
Let's say
one you wouldn't guess. I mean, you might, but it doesn't come to mind because they've been such a great organization.
Really great organization.
The
Steelers? Oh, no, I don't want to watch the Steelers too. Nah, Steelers.
The Cardinals.
Yeah, I can't even tell you. Jeremiah Love and a bunch of randoms. That's
the Titans.
Titans, yeah, they ain't really moving me too much. Especially they say Cam Ward's been struggling, Cardinal Tate's been struggling,
Malik Willis in Miami, and then number 32,
God bless.
least watchable team, the Browns.
Yeah, okay. Who was the one team above the Saints? Let me just get a perspective. Who was the one team above us?
It was a reasonable franchise. Let me get
Who's
back
above
and look.
us?
Giants.
Okay, we can shoot for that. That's a story franchise.
Guess who's 22? Right in front of the Giants. You can't guess.
The Bucks?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs? That low? Really? Damn. I mean, they out on Mahomes. I don't know how they're that low. But the Taylor Swift effect of that too?
The Chiefs are good because their defense is awesome. And that's not what this is for.
Yeah.
The Bears might have a terrible defense. I'm trying to get my Cubs fixed. They're talking too much about the
Caleb Williams,
Bears.
but they love him.
They think they're going to score a bunch of points. They think their defense might stink.
Really?
So,
well, I mean, Dennis Allen, man. I mean, I'll give him that. He's good on as a coordinator. But we're talking like
they got problems on the D line. They got problems in the secondary. They don't like that defense. In in Chicago right now.
Dennis
might run your boy out of town.
Well, you know who they picked up though, right? They needed reinforcements. You know who the Bears picked up?
No.
Davenport.
Okay.
Yeah, D.A. Davenport.
That's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
Let's come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Check out that website. Got whatever you need. It's so user-friendly. Want a new vehicle? Want a brand new ride? They got them at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can check them out and get great deals on trucks. Talking about Chevy Silverados from 2026. 0% APR financing for 5 years plus no monthly payments for 90 days. 2026 Sierras, 1500s. 2.9 APR financing for 72 months plus an additional $1,500 in allowance. Got to get those deals in August. If you want a new ride, check the website out. They got lots of them. If you want a pre-owned vehicle, they've got pre-owned vehicles to meet any budget. So if you know what make and model you want, you definitely want that Chevy. You definitely want that GMC. Maybe it's a Tahoe. Maybe it's a Denali. Pre-owned vehicle. Search by mileage. Search by price. It's right there. It's all there at FabryChevrolet.com. But of course, you can go by and see them at Highway 61 in St. Francisville and get that wonderful customer service that has made the Fabry family successful in this market for 35 years because they take care of their customers. Need a service? They service all makes and model in their service department, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Of course, you can always check out that entire inventory at FabryChevrolet.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
People think it's all about game day.
Let's go!
But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Another roof gone too soon. Looks like neglect. There's no doubt about it. This is a case of poor installation. At Pelican Roofing, we don't guess. We investigate to find the real cause of your roof's problems. Call Pelican Roofing for your free roof investigation today. Case closed.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Excited for tomorrow's show. Going to preview Saints and Cowboys in that final preseason game, and I'll give you my thoughts on all 12 LSU football games for the season before we get into the final open weekend for LSU before the season starts next weekend with Clemson. We come back on Monday. We'll be reacting to Lane Kiffin's press conference. Who knows if he'll get a single Clemson question, quite honestly, in that press conference. I'm sure he'll deflect every single one that comes his way, but I'm confident he'll be asked a lot about things that don't have to do with his current football team. But that's just the way it goes when you have those Monday press conferences and things are as public as they are right now. But we'll certainly start previewing Clemson starting on Monday, but inching towards the weekend, the final one without a lot of football, just a little bit of football, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. Right now, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Chili's is opening its first ever location on a golf course. Chili's is taking over the Bell Golf Club in Burbank, California, creating a clubhouse with Chili's menu items and limited edition rollback merch. So Chili's at the golf course. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I was skeptical of this. Thought it might be like something like at the turn or something. I don't like to eat between like 9 and 10. But if you're talking about finish your round, go get some chicken crispers.
Oof.
I can be on board for that. Finish your round, get one of those drinks they have, a little queso.
Yeah.
I can get down with that. So yeah, I'm for it.
All right, so an elementary school teacher has gone viral for creating a designated gas station in her classroom where students can go where they need to pass-win. Candy Sydney Browning, a second-grade teacher in Atlanta, Georgia, came up with an unusual classroom setup after getting tired of students interrupting lessons whenever somebody needed to pass gas. Rather than sending the children out of the room, Sydney Browning created a dedicated corner called the gas station, completed with a gusty wind area and air freshener. So designated fart spots for the kids. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. No kid's going to use this.
Oh, yeah, this is standing up. Just want to be in the corner.
You stand up. What are you doing? Well, I'm just going here to rip one.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to have the kids try to get one silently out there. It's going to happen. You're going to play it off. It's a tale as old as time in the classroom. This is not going to work. Poor idea. Poor execution.
Gas station.
It's not gonna happen. Now, if it was an all guys school, I can see making a scene of some sort trying to do that.
Problems.
But no, elementary school, that's not going to work.
So I went to Holy Cross, an all-boys school, and I'm just thinking about if they had something like that. I know this elementary, it will get abused. Like
Yeah,
from off
there's
rip,
no
it's abused. It's
No
getting
question.
abused. All right, so Philadelphia Phillies designated hitter Kyle Schwarber hit the MLB leading 40th home run Wednesday night against the Seattle Mariners. Schwarber home run tied a Phillies record for the most 40-plus home run seasons, matching former first baseman Ryan Howard. The 33-year-old Schwarber, who hit 56 home runs last season, is also tied for the most 40-plus home run seasons among active players with Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. So when he was on the Cubs, did you see Schwarber's career playing out like this? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. This is the biggest mistake of the Theo Epstein era, Jed Hoyer as well. They non-tendered him a contract, meaning they just didn't ask him to come back.
Wow.
And that he was the Hall of Famer of the group. It was Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, that whole Contreras, the whole group of really good players, and Schwarber was the guy they just didn't have a position for, and they had Ian Happ coming up, so they're just like, well, we'll just let him go, and then he's going to the Hall of Fame. So that was a miss in that era for the Cubs. They did a lot of things really well to get to that World Series, and turns out when they sold off that team, one of the trades they made was Javi Baez to the Mets for PCA, who's going to become the next face.
Yeah.
So they did a good job getting guys back from all the guys that they traded, and the guys that they traded, the Rizzo, Bryant, those guys all flatlined after they left. So they did a lot of good things, but non-tendering Schwarber is going to be the one that hurts.
Yeah, I didn't know y'all just let him walk out the door.
Just
I thought it was
non-tendered him a contract.
Oh my goodness. So that's it for take it or leave it.
All right, that's it for us today. I opened the show with my thoughts on this temporary restraining order, preliminary injunction, and the advance. If you missed our story on LouisianaSports.net, we spoke with the attorney, one of the attorneys who's representing the group that got that temporary restraining order and that will go to court on Monday. And he's calling for Greg Sankey to show up in a Louisiana courtroom because he believes that they're in violation of Louisiana state law with the SEC. We wrote about it. I talked about it. You can catch that on demand. Also talked some LSU football, talked some Saints football, talked some SEC football with Connor O'Gara. Appreciate him. And then Luke Johnson, who came on to talk Saints. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Missed the whole show? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound at Hunt Palmer Show. Thursday show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on this Thursday. Have a safe and happy evening. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. Back tomorrow with Friday show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. They got a lifetime workmanship warranty at Lifetime Roofing. So if you need a new roof or you think you may need a new roof, go with a roofer you can trust. Lifetime Roofing. They'll come out. They'll survey the situation. If you need that roof, you get a lifetime workmanship warranty, which doesn't just back the craftsmanship. It also backs the materials, which are backed by CertainTeed, one of the most trusted names in building materials. Doesn't have to be some sort of disaster that comes through. If you just feel like your roof is aging, or you might want to be selling your home in the near future and want to have that resale value at the highest it can be, get that new roof. Lifetime Roofing can help you out with it. And if you need financing, they've got it. 0% for 18 months. If you do have an insurance claim to file, they can help finance a deductible if it's sizable as well. It's Lifetime Roofing, Baton Rouge-based, Louisiana proud, can help you out in the entire state. It's Lifetime Roofing, online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2020